There's a skill set that you'll build, almost a reflex that you'll develop as a CEO, where you know that there are different identities. There's a fluid identity that you can assume throughout your day, your week, your month, your quarter, your year, especially as small business owners, right? So we're all familiar.
Hello and welcome to the Remarkable CEO Podcast, a show dedicated to chiropractors who want to transform their job into a business, so that they can have a remarkable practice as part of a remarkable life, not instead of one. With your hosts, Dr. Pete Camiolo and Dr. Stephen Franson.
What's up, Remarkables? Welcome to another episode of the Remarkable CEO Podcast. I'm Dr. Stephen Franson.
And I'm Dr. Pete Camiolo.
Today, we're going to have an awesome conversation for our business owners out there. If you're a business owner, if you caught our last episode, we talked about the Remarkable Ascension plan for the office manager. Today, we're going to be talking about the Remarkable Ascension plan for the business owner. I'm stoked to have this conversation because this is a regular reference point in our Remarkable CEO Masterminds. When we talk about taking a 3-year view of your business, Dr. Pete, it's an invitation for our doctors to pull back, right? Take a 30,000-foot view of their business and make decisions based on a 3-year view of what does success look like for this business. The further up you pull with keeping great clarity on that 3-year vision story, what I find is your emotional responses go down and your intelligence goes up, right? So I love the concept that in a high emotional environment, your intelligence goes down, right? So if you can get yourself into a purview, into a perspective where you can increase your or decrease your emotion, but increase your intelligence, you're going to make better decisions, right? So if you're like me and you want to be making decisions based on 1 part gut, 2 parts data, this conversation's for you because there's a skill set that you'll build, almost a reflex that you'll develop as a CEO, where you know that there are different identities. There's a fluid identity that you can assume throughout your day, your week, your month, your quarter, your year, especially as small business owners, right? So we're all familiar with this concept of working on your business versus working in your business. Well, today's conversation is we're taking it next level, Dr. Pete, and we're going to invite those business owners to work above your business, right? So we're going to be going from this owner-operator perspective where you're actually the one that's doing, and you're working in the business, right? So to make the ascension to the CEO who comes up over the top of this thing and they work on the business as the leader, building the business, leading the team, leading the business to the next ascension, which is working above the business, which is the perspective of an investor. Right? So we go from this perspective of I have to create value and I have to deliver value and I have to add value and I have to capture value, right? So to the CEO who says we have to create value, we have to deliver value, we have to add value, we have to capture value, right? To that of the perspective of an investor. That investor who is investing their time, energy, focus, and money in the business that they own, and they want to see a return on that investment. And you start saying things like they have to create more value. They have to deliver more value. They need to add more value. And of course, they need to capture more value.
Hey, Doc, this is so powerful. I'm so excited for this conversation. I'm so energized and charged up about this. So I can't wait to dig in. And I want to speak to some CEOs out there who maybe have had a misunderstanding of what it means to become a remarkable CEO. I think some of us maybe have understood it as when I become the CEO, then I am no longer functioning in an identity or in a role of, let's say, what an owner-operator might be. And what I wanted to speak about just a little bit is the fact that that is not what it means. So, for example, we talked about the identity shift that has to happen. And the key here to being successful in all 3 levels, working in your business, on your business, and above your business, is actually knowing that you're going to be functioning in all of those identities any given week. And that you need to become adaptable and fluid and flexible in your ability to transition from position to position. So I'll give you an example. I wake up in the morning and that's my time. Right? So it's a really important time for me. It's my time with God. It's my time in quiet and in peace. It's my time to get centered and get get ready for the day, right? It's also usually when I get my body physically positioned for the day. It's when I train my body to be ready for the day. I do that early in the morning. Then, you know what? I know I need to get into the house and make sure that those boys are awake because they got to get to school. So I go from being Pete, taking care of Pete, and Pete being about Pete, to I got to shift to my identity of I'm dad now. And I'll tell you, sometimes there's conflict. Sometimes there's a conflict. I don't want to leave the moment of it's me right now, and I'm enjoying this time of it's just me and I can focus on me. But then I recognize that 7:30 means they got to be at school at 7:30. So right now it's 6:30, and if I don't become dad at 6:30, at 6:50, my dad blood pressure is gonna go up big time, right? So I have to shift my identity into being dad, and I gotta go in there and make sure that they're up. I'm gonna make sure that all the things are in order for them to get to school and be taken care of, and all the details are done, ready to rock and roll. And then, you know what? I take them to school, or we get them off to school, whatever the day might be. And then, you know what? I head into my office, and I might actually right away be right into being a coach. And now I'm Coach Pete, right? I'm Coach Pete, and I'm working with CEOs, and I'm helping them work on their business and grow and develop their business. And then maybe I have a couple appointments that come by the house, and you know what? Now I'm Dr. Pete, and now I have to shift. I'm not a Coach Pete anymore. These are the people that need me to teach them about the principles of subluxation and help them become understanders, and to make sure that chiropractic is a lifestyle success strategy for them. And then I go into my house, and after maybe a long day and a little bit of fatigue, then sometimes you want to just have a little bit of Pete time. But then I go into the identity of I got to first go find Mary and say, I'm husband, right? I'm your husband, right? We're in this together. We are two people on a quest to become and remain one. And that requires a tremendous amount of intention and effort and sacrifice and, selflessness. And then, immediately here's the, so to speak, the kid, and here's the rest of the meal. Could you finish making that meal? And, or, the homework.
Chef Pete.
We ran into some issues with mathematics.
Homeschool Pete.
On geometry. Exactly. And so now I'm not only am I dad Pete, but I'm also math teacher Pete. And then, and then from there I go into, and the list goes on. You see, so the reality is that we have to become very fluid in our ability to, and if we resist it, it doesn't serve anybody any well. It doesn't serve you. It doesn't serve anyone that you're designed and meant to serve. And recognizing all those scenarios, and just as I'm laying out and painting a little picture into a glimpse of one of my days, that ability to shift and transition from one identity, one role, and the other first comes from the identity, knowing that that is the role that I have. That I accept the role. I accept the identity. I accept the fact that I'm a husband. I'm a father. I'm a business owner. I'm a coach. I'm a doctor. I'm a friend, right? And I didn't even get into then maybe I'm going out with my buddies that night to go watch a game, or we're going to church that evening to a small group event, and I'm gonna so the reality is there's all sorts of transitions. And so we in our lives, as leaders, we need to first understand that it's not about becoming the CEO and I lock in as I'm the CEO of my business. No, you're going to function fluidly, transition between being a CEO, working with your team, right? We are adding more value. We are, creating more value. We are capturing more value. We are doing this as a business. We are doing this. There's going to be moments where I am going to be doing this if I am table side, loving, giving, serving, if I'm out at an event speaking, or I am right in the office, I got to show up. If you're the one who's giving that advanced workshop, or you're the one who's delivering the adjustments during that shift, that's an I thing. You have to take that very personally. Like, listen, I got to shut all the other stuff down. I have to be fully present and give my very best today to each person I encounter. And then I leave my adjusting room and I go ahead and put on my CEO hat, because I go right into my team meeting, or I might go right into a CEO, COO, same page meeting. And then I'm going to shift from that, and I'm going to go into a strategic planning meeting with my CEO cohort, and I'm going to be working on my 2023 strategic plan for where we're going to be going in 2023. I'm working on my vision story and my mapping, and I'm really putting all my goals and everything together, right? So now I'm trying to work above my business, and that all might happen in one day. And the reality is that's exactly the way it's designed to be. As CEOs, we need to become fit to serve. We need to become fit, Dr. Stephen, to be able to function in each of these levels in this ascension. And it requires a level of fitness, and it requires that identity and understanding that to do that successfully.
I love the metaphor of just we as people, like showing up in our home and how many roles that we are called to play and how each one of those roles is really well defined. And it comes with a set of responsibilities and accountabilities. It's an identity. There's an expected level of service and response and perspective, right? So like the perspective of, what your wife expects from you as a spouse, as a partner, versus what your kids would expect from you as daddy, versus your workout partner, as you walk into the CrossFit box, or you take the stage at church and pick up your guitar as the worship leader. There's such a distinct set of responsibilities, and each one of those identities has a different perspective. And there's expectations and agreements that are made around each of those roles, right? So it's really important that owners, small business owners, because that's what we are here. For by and large, everybody listening to this podcast, I'm guessing your business is going to be, I know so many of you, so I'm guessing you're somewhere between 500,000 and 35 million, right? So I know who the players are listening to this podcast right now. There are different identities, whether you're in a startup, you're in the build season, or you're in the scale season. Maybe you're an enterprise start. Maybe you're getting ready for exit. Regardless, you're playing all of these roles most likely every day, right? So you are still, working in your business. You're probably in the adjustatorium caring for patients and delivering life-giving chiropractic care, right? So you are very often, most likely, in front of the room doing a report of findings or doing the Better Results Faster workshop, or out doing a corporate talk, or so. You are working, that's you, that you have a job in that business. You're working in that business. You own the business, but you have a job. In other words, you're on the accountability chart in that chair. That's a job. You own the business, but you have a job or jobs in that business, right? So that's you working in the business. And then when you're working on the business as that CEO, right, that's when you pull back and you're like, man, I'm going to be working on this business and creating greater scalability and durability, right? So one day I'll have great transferability because I'm going to systematize everything, right? So I'm going to build a world-class team. I'm going to invest in training and coaching and develop these people so that I can delegate, right? So I can create that level of durability that's enviable, right? And creates that remarkable standard of a remarkable business. And then you make that ascension to be able to say, you know what? I need to be looking at the future of this company. I need to pull back and pull up, and I need to take a 3-year view as we find ourselves in environments that call for us to think like an investor. Because you are an investor. If you own a business, you are an investor. You're the primary, most likely only investor in that business, and you have to think like an investor. I have 4 limited resources: time, energy, focus, and money. And I am going to invest each of these 4 limited resources, and I want a return on those investments. I want a return on my time. Where am I gaining efficiencies? Where's the highly leveraged activity that I can do to claw back my time freedom? I want a return on my focus. Man, I got to protect it. When you get up to this level in business, focus becomes the limiting resource. So you got to be marshaling that focus. I can't get distracted. Energy, man, how can I leverage all of the energy of the things that I've built and attracted and I pay for around me? Like, I need to get the most return on this energy. And then money, you know what? Money, you've got a real consciousness around. I want a 3 times to 5 times return on this investment. So when we come into this posture, when we get into this identity, the perspective serves us well when we face things like, hey, we've got a period of economic uncertainty ahead. And everybody else around you is, shitting themselves, and they're freaking out and panicking, and they're pulling back and contracting. And you know what? I'm going to stand back and I'm going to wait. You know what? That's not what a CEO does. And it's definitely not what investors do. Fortunes are made in the downturn. This is when we pick our heads up and we look for the opportunities. We got to say, man, how would an investor behave right now if I was taking a 3-year view of this business, right? So, man, I don't know about you, but I know what I'm doing. I plan on building the empire during the downturn. If there's going to be a downturn, okay, let's go. Let's kick it into gear. Let's assume that investor identity. Keep a clear head, pick my head up, take a 3-year view of my business. It's time for me to start fleshing out this team of A players. Guess what? There's going to be people dumping into that talent pool. There are businesses that are laying people off. There's definitely a hiring freeze, not in my businesses. I am saying, okay, so now is the time. Lord, send me the right people. Where are those A players? It's either specifically like, I got 9 people on the docket right now to be hired in 2023. Just increased our budget to be hiring those people. I'm going to scoop these people up because the 3-year view of our business, Dr. Pete, is very bright. And you know what? We're going to demonstrate the capacity to manage well those things that we're trusted with already. And we're going to build that team that's going to be able to serve our business so that we can serve more chiropractors around the world and reach those people who so desperately need what our clients deliver, because our purpose is to restore health, and we restore health through our clients.
So, Dr. Steven, this may be brand new to the audience, and I'm not surprised if it is. Like, you may have not heard us dig into this at this level before. So this is we're shedding a fresh light on this. Okay, you've heard us talk about what it means to be an owner operator, and that in the appropriate season. Okay, what I want to talk about, what a point I want to make right now in regards to season. So when you're in the season of launching and building, it is the right place to be in that owner operator mindset. Like, you have to be in that owner operator identity when you're starting your business to get the business going. Now, if you're going to do a remarkable launch and build, you would actually have your eyes ahead and know that I'm building towards being able to one day scale. And we have found that the doctors who are in the season of launch and build, who begin with an understanding of that there are season 3 and season 4, that they are more successful. So we recognize that. The second stage, which is going from that owner operator, which is an identity, which a lot of this, Dr. Steven, comes back to the value that I have and the value that I bring to the business, the value that I gain from this. It actually comes from my role as an owner operator. We have to shed that at some point in the journey where we have to begin to see the value of actually recruiting the people around us to do it with us. That we can no longer just be the Dr. Franson show or the Dr. Camiolo show or fill in your name in the blank show. It cannot sustain like that. Or you could keep going like that, but you are the limiting factor. You are the bottleneck. And so we begin to equip and empower a team of leaders, right? We go from being able to build into scale. And there's a very specific criteria for transition of that, and within the context of the season, which we have clearly defined for you. And as you're transitioning from the owner operator into the CEO, you begin to think and must think more like an investor. But in order to truly scale and to scale well, if you think about that third season, which essentially we should spend the majority of our career as business owners and leaders in the season 3. If you really think about, understand the essence of what's the purpose of launch, what's the purpose of build, what is the purpose of scale, but ultimately, if we were to arrive in scale, that we would be able to maintain and remain in that place for many, many years. And the only way that, Dr. Steven, I can see that being sustainable is if you make the ascension to working not only on your business, but working above your business. If you begin to identify yourself as an investor, and when you begin to see this, you can actually see the long game, the runway, how you could be in this season for the majority of your career and be prosperous and flourish and be massively fulfilled because you have made the ascension. You have made the full ascension. So, Dr. Steven, this is a really important moment. I think it's happening appropriately here in 2023. I believe many of you who are listening have been listening. Maybe you're new to the show, welcome. But many of you have been listening for years. This is the next level we're inviting you into in 2023. We believe that there's a next level, and we've got plans to support you in Remarkable, right? We've got plans with our programs, Remarkable CEO, in a Remarkable Practice, to support you and your team in your investing. But we have found that the doctors that truly make the ascension, they're doing a few things in common. Number one, they're investing in their people. They're investing in outsourcing, training their key players, their office managers, their COOs, and their associates. We're seeing them wholeheartedly embrace the support for those key players and key positions on the team. And they actually recognize that this is an investment I'm making in my team, in my business, where it doesn't all have to be done by me, but it can be done for me or with me. And this is a done with you journey. It's a done with you process. Number two, leveraging systems. Leveraging the systems that we have provided. Like, for example, the chiropractic operating system is a system to be deployed. It's a system to be executed. It's a system that actually will produce massive amounts of fruit when it's actually exercised the way it's designed to be done. And that system needs to be owned by someone on your team. That someone should be a COO, and that person needs to be equipped and empowered to do so. Also, leveraging technology. And some of the technology leverage means also looking at the 4 domains of your business: attraction, conversion, retention, and collections. Where can you leverage more technology to create more automation, to create an ease so that we can even scale and grow in a more awesome way without it being so manual, so stressful, so heavy? So there's no limiting factor to us being able to make a bigger impact, make a bigger income. And we have found that the doctors that are really ascending and moving into the next level are embracing wholeheartedly the need to reinvest back in their company, back in those elements that I just mentioned, because they see that on the other side is the growth that they want. Dr. Stephen, this is such an important element. I believe coming into this year, this is an episode, if you're listening to it real time, when it's airing, it's the beginning of 2023. And we are very focused right now. You heard what our theme for the year is. You know what it is. It's all about being all in. It's about being fully committed. And I'm telling you, your commitment to your ascension, owner-operator identity, CEO identity, and investor identity is going to be the key determining factor, in my opinion, in your ability to truly scale and to be able to experience the growth that you want. Your commitment to being all in this, Dr. Stephen, is what it's going to take.
Hey, Doc, let's face it, 95% of your problems are people problems. Can't find A players, can't keep A players, don't know how to leverage your team, create expectations and agreements, or hold people accountable in order to optimize your team. Doc, what would happen to your practice if you were finally able to get the right people in the right seats, doing the right work the right way? For most chiropractors, it would change everything. You'd increase your capacity to see more people. You'd make a bigger impact and a bigger income. You'd be able to delegate and scale your business. Or maybe you need to get your associate doctor relationship dialed in. That would mean you getting your time freedom back. You could get a handle on your schedule, maybe even become a CEO. If this is what you want your 2023 to sound like, make sure that you join us for the remarkable team building immersion in Dallas, Texas, February 4th and 5th, or in Brisbane, Australia, February 24th and 25th. Man, I'm psyched to be back in Australia. Doc, bring your team with you. Get everyone on the same page. They'll be back in your office on Monday with more clarity, accountability, and purpose than ever before. Energize and mobilize your team and see your practice grow. What are your goals for 2023, Doc? Is it a 7-figure foundation, or a 7-figure revenue, or 7-figure profit, or maybe even a 7-figure exit? Regardless of what season you're in, you'll need a 7-figure team. Click the link in the show notes and register today.
Thanks for listening to this episode of the Remarkable CEO Podcast. Remember, what the world needs now is chiropractic, and what chiropractic needs now is more successful chiropractors. If you like this podcast, please subscribe, share with a friend, and leave us a review. And if you'd like to connect with us personally, direct message us on Facebook, LinkedIn, or Instagram. Now go and be remarkable.